Fortunately, an average movie is not the only way you get to see Lara Croft this year. What's going on, guys? My name is Ryan Ramakrishnan and welcome. Today, I want to talk about Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Now, I'm a huge fan of Tomb Raider 2013 and its sequel, Rise of the Tomb Raider from 2015. Both games are fantastic, and honestly, I feel like people are not really giving the right attention to Shadow of the Tomb Raider, its sequel coming out this year, that it truly deserves. So with that being said, I'm not going to waste any time with this intro. I'm going to start talking about Shadow of the Tomb Raider, why you should be excited, why it's such a big game, and why you should stop sleeping on it if you're already doing so. So story is everything. It's not everything in Shadow of the Tomb Raider or its predecessors, but it's a big part. Shadow of the Tomb Raider sees the story of Lara Croft come to a full circle and cap off the trilogy that Crystal Dynamics started in 2013 with the aforementioned reboot of Tomb Raider. So Shadow of the Tomb Raider is actually taking a very dark approach, and all for the better. I think it's extremely exciting.
I saw it. The end.
This story is really interesting. In my opinion, I think it's extremely exciting to see how Lara Croft has evolved. She went from very curious, afraid to kill, and really unsure of people around her in the world, maybe a little vulnerable, but with time, she's grown. And these dynamics make her such an interesting character, and I think that that's why these Tomb Raider games are so great.
But now the truth feels further away than ever. I still have so many questions.
I absolutely love seeing Lara Croft go from afraid to pull a trigger and just freaked out by dead bodies to actually covering herself in mud and killing enemies almost like in a glorified way, because she's learned to adapt to her environments, and that is extremely interesting. Like I said, it's dynamic.
I've come so far.
There's so many interesting themes that Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider explored, and of course, the new game will explore even further. Shadow's gonna see Lara Croft truly come to terms with how she's become the Tomb Raider. It's all about her journey and all these themes that are actually very humane. She learned how to trust people and who not to trust. She learned how to survive and fight for herself. Responsibility, maturity, independence, all these things that everybody has to learn at some point in their life. She takes on in an extremely interesting manner as she explores uncharted territories and goes through a lot of hell, you know? She fights against these crazy people who are cult leaders and trying to take over the world. She gets her life at risk all the time, but she learns. It's not just like an action hero, but she's a real person with real feelings, and she cares about others around her. So I think that this is an interesting story overall. The entire narrative arc that started in Tomb Raider is coming to full circle. This is going to cap off the trilogy, and I'm extremely excited to see how it all ends. I think that the dark tone and the final adventures of her, the themes that it's exploring once more and even deeper, and the idea of her taking on Trinity for one last time and hopefully really becoming something more and seeing how her life has changed for better or worse is going to be an extremely compelling story that you do not want to miss.
He wants to alter the course of humanity. If you had that power, what would you do?
While I'm not going to lie, graphics are not nearly as important as story or gameplay when it comes to a big game, I still think that graphics are impressive nonetheless. And let's talk about how good Shadow of the Tomb Raider looks. If you're looking at all the games coming out in this fall and holiday season, there are beautiful games. You look at Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Battlefield 5 for some amazing realistic graphics, but also Shadow of the Tomb Raider is doing it too. Square Enix has an extremely pretty game coming out right now, and every environment, the lush jungles and forests, the deep dark caves, bodies of water, everything looks beautiful. I'm actually really impressed with even Tomb Raider from 2013. I actually played the Definitive Edition not that long ago on my Xbox One and thought, wow, this game looks really pretty. Rise of the Tomb Raider also looked amazing, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, as you'd expect, rightfully so, is a really good looking game. Like I said, all these environments are gorgeous to look at. They're putting a lot of work into lighting and shadows. It's just a very detailed game that looks as good as it's gonna play. But I think the most important thing about new video games is gameplay. Whether or not a game looks good, or even if it does tell a good story, you want something that feels fun to play and entertaining to actually do yourself. Just like Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider, you get a really awesome open-ended action-adventure game.
Let the world shape our destiny, or fight to become who we're meant to be.
The way Rise of the Tomb Raider improved on its predecessor was larger levels. You have a bigger world. It's not an open world game, so it doesn't fall for the cliches that a lot of open world games these days are doing, but the levels are big, you can explore, and there's an awesome sense of discovery with that of course plays into the lore and the story overall.
Lara will have to confront a brutal jungle environment in order to survive. And even though that she's more confident and more capable, she will still be outgunned and outnumbered by Trinity.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider is sticking to those big levels. You're going to get to explore areas other than just going to your objective. You don't have to just follow the goal marker. You can go off the beaten path and find awesome treasures and lore and interesting things, and also probably come across some different side missions of sorts and enemies galore to fight. And that's important too, because let's talk about fighting. The combat is awesome. I absolutely love this kind of game. It's my style. I love action adventure games with shooting and combat and stuff. Shadow of the Tomb Raider seems to be putting a lot of emphasis on its stealth, and that is awesome too, because Lara Croft has learned to become a dynamic stealth killer. She doesn't have to go guns blazing, but you sure will. There's plenty of gunplay, and I think it feels good in the past games, so there's no way it won't in this game. It looks great, but I'm loving the stealth. Similar to like Rambo, as a lot of people were comparing it to, Shadow of the Tomb Raider lets Lara literally put mud on herself and sneak around in the environment. You see violent stealth kills of all sorts, jumping off trees and stuff, sneaking up on the enemies. It looks super cool. I'm down for it. I like stealth, and like I said, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is just going to have such a great gameplay loop. I think that this open-ended exploration and brutal, fun action combat with so much interesting adventuring to do and stealth and whatnot, the ability to swim further down in the water and explore that. There's just so many cool things happening that you get to play out.
Can we get more light in here?
Kappa team still has eyes on Zona Maeva.
And it's also potentially the end of the world. That's what the story here is.
He wants to alter the course of humanity.
You're going to get this beautiful Mesoamerica, South America environments and world to explore. You're going to get an interesting story to go along with that about some supernatural crazy stuff and just an interesting dynamic of Lara Croft coming full circle. And you're going to get to explore all that with some fun gameplay. You're going to get to fight all these enemies, be a stealth killer, and do whatever you want to take them out. And I think it's going to be a super cool game and a lot of fun to play. So yeah, that's why Shadow of the Tomb Raider looks awesome in my opinion, and that's why I think you should definitely not sleep on it if you're doing so right now. I know there's a lot of big games coming out, but don't let this one go unnoticed because it's going to be huge. It's a really important cap to the trilogy, and I think it's going to be super fun to play, look at, and enjoy in terms of the story. So definitely let me know, guys. Are you more excited for the story that is going to cap off Lara Croft's plot and dynamic character development overall? Or are you more excited to just dive right into some fun, action-packed gameplay with some stuff included and just kill a bunch of bad guys? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. We'll talk about Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Otherwise, I've been Ryan Ramakrishnan. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed.